Today, I'm gonna raise 4 legendary dragons as pets, from eggs I find in a hidden cave all the way to fully grown apex predators I'll have to release into the wild. This is gonna be insane. It started deep in the mountains, behind a waterfall that isn't on any map. Inside a pitch-black cave, I found 4 eggs. 2 in soft moss, 1 coal black with purple veins, 1 pearl white shimmering like moonlight. Furies. Near the entrance, a crystalline white egg with electric blue veins, ice cold. A blue eyes white dragon. And in the deepest geothermal chamber, an emerald green egg with swirling gold markings, warm as a living thing. A Shenron. I grabbed all 4 and sprinted home. I set up separate nests, heat lamps for the Furies, maximum voltage coils for the Blue Eyes, a volcanic rock slab for Shenron. 3 brutal days of no sleep, checking temps constantly. On the 4th night, the black egg started shaking. A tiny scratch, then crack. A little black nose poked through. Toothless tumbled out. Huge bright green eyes, jet black scales soft as velvet. So tiny, he fit in my palm. He immediately started sniffing my fingers for food. The white egg stayed silent. Toothless nudged it with his snout. An hour later, it started glowing from inside, blinding light, then shattered like a firework. The Light Fury. Iridescent pearl white scales, faster than Toothless the second one, zooming across everything. The Blue Eyes took until night 6. Blue electricity arced across the shell, then it exploded with a flash that blew out my lamp. A pale white lizard with piercing blue eyes and crystalline ridges. He didn't nuzzle me. He stared with cold intelligence, then immediately tried to bite Toothless. Rivalry from minute 1. Shenron took a full week. On the 7th night, the egg cracked with a harmonic hum that shook my apartment. Golden light poured through. A tiny emerald head with golden whiskers emerged. Serpentine body, no wings, deep red eyes that looked ancient despite being newborn. He yawned and a tiny golden spark came out. 4 baby dragons. Total chaos. Toothless and the Light Fury wrestled like kittens with wings. Blue Eyes dominated every warm spot. Shenron coiled around his rock, unbothered, watching with ancient eyes. Feeding time was wild. Toothless sneezed the plasma spark at apples, not a fruit fan. The Light Fury inhaled pizza and flapped happily, junk food addict. Toothless shredded a watermelon covering my kitchen in red juice. They doubled in size overnight from that watermelon alone. Blue Eyes only wanted raw beef, snarling at everything else. And Shenron? I put fish in front of him. He opened his mouth and the fish slid towards him on its own, floating right in. I still can't explain that. A week later, huge problem. Dog-sized dragons. The Light Fury unlocked invisibility. I'd hear cookies rustling in the kitchen, walk in, nobody there, just cookies floating in midair. Then Toothless plasma blasted my TV into a melted puddle. Blue Eyes was punching holes in drywall with lightning. Shenron had grown into a 6-foot serpent coiled around my bookshelf. The apartment was way too small. I built a massive backyard enclosure. Rock slabs, flight platforms, caves, targets. They destroyed everything. Rubber tires shredded in 5 minutes. Metal targets, Blue Eyes blasted holes through all of them. But Toothless had a problem. His left tail fin was damaged from birth. Every takeoff veered sideways and crashed. Heartbreaking. So I built him a prosthetic. Red carbon fiber, custom shaped. The moment I clipped it on, something changed in his eyes. He crouched, launched, and soared straight up above the tree line. Perfect flight. He let out a victory roar that echoed across the valley. I was crying. All 4 dragons flew together for the first time. Toothless and Light Fury racing through clouds, Blue Eye splitting a tree with blue lightning, Shenron levitating, no wings, just undulating through the air like an emerald ribbon, the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Then the Light Fury froze midair, staring at the tree line. A black drone was hovering over the trees. Someone had been watching. We packed up that night and drove deep into the mountains. I found an abandoned volcanic research station, underground chambers, thermal vents, a crater with 200-foot cliffs. I turned it into a dragon sanctuary, 60 times the size of my backyard. But these four couldn't share space anymore. Toothless and Blue Eyes fought constantly. Plasma versus lightning, scorch marks everywhere. I separated them. Blue Eyes got the crater with wolves, bears, and a 20-foot saltwater crocodile. Shenron got a thermal lake, now 30 feet long, crushing wooden structures like paper for crowds of visitors. The Light Fury got an alpine habitat with deer and wildflowers. And Toothless, after killing 3 wolves using stealth and echolocation, was deemed too dangerous. Underground bunker, concrete walls, steel doors, UV lights 24/7. He was furious, shooting plasma at the walls daily. Months passed. Blue Eyes grew to 30 feet, killed the Crocodile King, and started ramming the crater netting every night. Toothless was going insane in his bunker. Then, one night, 3 black helicopters, dragon hunters who'd tracked the drone footage, electrified nets, sleeping gas. The Light Fury got tangled mid-flight and crashed. A gas grenade knocked me out. When I woke up, the Light Fury was gone. But the hunters didn't account for Toothless. He heard her scream through 3 feet of concrete. Something snapped. His spine started glowing neon blue, lightning crackling across his body. Alpha mode, 3 times stronger and faster. He blew the steel blast door clean off its hinges and marched out. I climbed on his back and we flew 30 miles to the hunter base. Toothless in alpha mode smashed through the gates. Steel buckled like foil. Bullets bounced off his glowing scales. He vaporized the cage lock. The Light Fury burst free. Together, they wrecked the entire facility in 10 minutes.
But while we were gone, Blue Eyes broke through the crater netting. Every staff member had left their post during the attack. He ripped through the steel mesh and launched into open sky, a 40-foot crystalline dragon, free. The dragons couldn't stay. Hunters would return. I transported Toothless, Light Fury, and Shenron 200 miles to remote wilderness and released them. Light Fury caught an updraft instantly. Shenron, now over 100 feet, slithered into a valley without looking back. But Toothless didn't want to leave. He stood there with those huge green eyes. I scratched behind his ear plates one last time. He nudged my shoulder, rumbled low, then spread his wings and took off. The red prosthetic caught the sunlight as he climbed. But the story doesn't end there. Blue Eyes had been free for weeks, now 60 feet long, building an army of birds of prey, hundreds in tight formation, destroying farms and livestock, a force of nature. Toothless, now full adult, 60 feet of jet black armored scales, found a dead valley, scorched earth, burned forests, carcasses with lightning burns. Blue Eyes had done this. Toothless couldn't stop him alone. Shenron, 300 feet long in volcanic caverns, felt the destruction through the earth itself. A decision was being made in those ancient red eyes. Meanwhile, the Light Fury settled near a fishing village, hunting fish invisibly. But a wolf pack surrounded her on a beach. 30 wolves, her wings still sore from the hunters. She went down bleeding. Fishermen drove the wolves off, cleaned her wounds, splinted her wing. She bonded with the village, helping them fish, carrying cargo, protecting them. Dogs slept against her belly. A community of humans, animals, and a dragon in harmony. Toothless found the village weeks later. The Light Fury went defensive, white fire in her throat, body between him and her village. But he lowered his head, retracted his teeth, folded his wings. Every submissive gesture. He needed her help. She told him to leave. The villagers raised spears. Then the horizon went dark. The entire sky filled with wings. Blue Eyes and his army. Hundreds of predators. The 60-foot crystalline dragon at the center. They'd come to eliminate the last rival dragons. The attack was immediate. Hawks and eagles diving in waves at the village. Blue Eyes fired lightning that detonated the beach. Light Fury went invisible, picking off attackers. Villagers fought with bows and spears. Dolphins launched at low-flying hawks. The whole village fought. But Blue Eyes cornered the Light Fury against the cliff, charging his lightning breath. Toothless dove between them, alpha mode. took the blast full in the chest. The detonation lit up the coastline. He crashed into the cliff, smoking, but alive. He pulled himself up. The Light Fury rose beside him, side by side for the first time. They attacked in sync, plasma and invisible white fire from impossible angles, but Blue Eyes was too big, too strong. His army swarmed them. They were being overwhelmed. Then the ground trembled. The ocean pulled back. From the volcanic depths, Shenron rose, 300 feet of divine emerald serpent erupting through the clouds, golden whiskers crackling with godlike energy. He swept through the aerial army like a tidal wave, crushing predators by the dozen. Toothless and Light Fury herded Blue Eyes towards Shenron's coils. The Blue Eyes realized too late. Shenron was everywhere, blocking every escape. A golden whisker wrapped his wing, then a coil around his body. Blue Eyes fired lightning point blank into Shenron's scales. The divine serpent didn't flinch. The lightning splashed like rain on a mountain. Shenron constricted. The Blue Eyes white dragon, 60 feet of crystalline armor, was squeezed in the coils of an actual god. His army scattered. Shenron uncoiled slowly, sliding back through the clouds into the volcanic deep. Ancient red eyes closed. Gone. Silence. Smoke rising from the village. Feathers drifting like snow. Toothless and Light Fury stood on the cliff, side by side, watching the scattered army disappear. She touched her nose to his snout. A truce. A partnership. Maybe more. I was standing on the beach. I'd driven through the night when I heard news reports. I looked up and saw them. My dragons. The babies I'd hatched with heat lamps. The ones I'd fed watermelon and pizza. The one whose tail I'd fixed with carbon fiber and hope. Toothless saw me. Those huge green eyes locked onto mine. He glided down and landed, nudged my shoulder. That same low rumble. I scratched his ear plates. Light Fury landed beside him and purred. I knew this was goodbye. For real. Hunters would keep coming. The only safe place was where humans couldn't follow. Toothless licked my cheek. Light Fury nuzzled my head. And from deep in the earth, a low vibration. Shenron's farewell. They spread their wings. Toothless, jet black, red prosthetic catching the sunlight. Light Fury, iridescent pearl white, refracting rainbows. And far below, a river of emerald coiled toward the horizon. They flew toward the mountains, toward the hidden world. I watched until I couldn't see them anymore. Just an empty sky and the sound of waves. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out the video on screen. See you next time.